When we think of powerful trucks, most people picture diesel engines roaring down highways. But what if I told you that before all that, there were real road monsters powered entirely by steam? That's right, trucks with boilers, smokestacks, and enough brute force to haul massive loads without breaking a sweat. Ever seen a truck that looked like a locomotive on wheels? Or one that tackled mud and forest trails like a modern-day off-road beast? These machines weren't just concepts. They existed, they worked hard, and some of them are still running to this day. Ready to discover the most powerful steam trucks that changed heavy hauling forever? Stick around, because the number one on this list will make any modern trucker tip their hat to history. Foden 5-ton steam wagon. Built in 1908 by the British company Foden, this early steam-powered truck helped set the stage for the future of heavy transport. Designed during the height of the Industrial Revolution, the Foden 5-ton steam wagon could carry, you guessed it, up to 5 tons of cargo. That was a serious achievement, especially considering the rough and muddy roads of the early 20th century. Powered by a twin-cylinder steam engine and a coal-fired boiler running at around 150 psi, it delivered between 50 and 60 horsepower. The torque, as with most steam engines, was constant and immediate, which made it ideal for climbing inclines or pulling heavy loads on uneven surfaces. It had a simple manual gearbox with direct drive gears, rear-wheel chain drive, and standard leaf spring suspension. For its time, this setup was surprisingly effective, offering a smoother ride than most expected. Visually, the Foden looked like a cross between an industrial cart and a locomotive. It was loud, smoky, and impossible to ignore. Drivers had no cab for protection, just leather goggles, gloves, and grit. These trucks were mostly used in cities and towns across England, carrying coal, timber, and bulk goods. They replaced horse-drawn carts with ease and soon became a common sight in the industrial north. Today, the Foden 5-ton is a beloved relic. Restored models still show up at vintage vehicle shows in the UK, and some can even make short trips under their own steam, literally. One example completed a nearly 50-mile heritage run without a hitch, more than a century after it was built. Sound impressive? Just wait. The next machine on this list has a radically different design, and it might surprise you. Yorkshire Steam Wagon. Built in the early 1910s by the Yorkshire Patent Steam Wagon Company, this truck stood out with a rather unusual feature for the time, a horizontal boiler. While most steam wagons used upright boilers, Yorkshire's layout lowered the center of gravity, improving stability on curves and hills. Its twin-cylinder steam engine, fed by coal-heated water, delivered around 60 horsepower and steady torque. It could carry 6 tons of cargo, cruising at speeds up to 18 miles per hour. Modest, but powerful enough for industrial use. The gearbox was a straightforward manual design, with chain-driven rear-wheel power. Front and rear leaf spring suspension kept things surprisingly steady, even with a full load. Visually, it looked more squared off and muscular than its competitors, with a wide body, side exhaust stack, and forward-mounted cab. The constant hissing and deep engine thump made it sound more like a small locomotive than a truck. Yorkshire wagons were often used to move bricks, coal, and other heavy goods in industrial towns, particularly in northern England. Their rugged build made them ideal for uneven terrain and narrow factory lanes. Today, collectors consider them some of the most well-engineered steam trucks ever made. A few are still running, thanks to restorations and passionate enthusiasts. And here's a fun fact. One of these wagons once beat modern internal combustion vehicles in a steep climb competition at a vintage truck rally. All thanks to the unstoppable pull of steam. Impressive, right? Next up, we've got a model that took refinement and long-haul durability to a whole new level. Sentinel S4 Steam Wagon 9009. Released in the 1920s by Sentinel Wagon Works, one of Britain's most respected steam vehicle makers, the S4 Steam Wagon number 9009 marked a leap forward in steam truck design. It brought improved performance and reliability for both city and rural freight transport. At its core was a twin-cylinder, horizontal steam engine powered by coal, producing roughly 75 horsepower. With that kind of steady power, it could haul up to 6.5 tons, more than enough for most industrial loads of the era. Its top speed was around 22 miles per hour, which was considered fast for a steam wagon. The manual gearbox used simple but sturdy gears. Rear-wheel drive via chain and well-tuned leaf spring suspension gave it a stable ride under full load. Visually, the S4 9009 was more refined than its predecessors. It had a semi-open cab, polished metalwork, and a tall front-mounted smokestack that belched thick vapor when running at full power. The oversized steering wheel demanded strong arms, but the layout was functional and efficient. These trucks were commonly used to haul goods between towns, especially in agricultural and industrial areas. They were dependable workhorses, easy to maintain by the standards of the time. Culturally, the Sentinel S4 became a symbol of reliability. Many units were preserved, and some still appear at UK steam fairs, fully operational. In fact, this very unit, 9009, was restored and still works today. It was even loaded with coal sacks during a festival to recreate its original job, a rolling tribute to classic engineering. Think that's impressive? The next Sentinel brings even more power, more gears, and enough torque to shake the ground. Sentinel DG4 Steam Wagon. Introduced in the 1930s by Sentinel Wagon Works, the DG4 represented a major step forward in steam truck performance. The DG stood for double gear, referring to its improved transmission setup, which gave drivers more control on steep or uneven roads. This was a serious upgrade for heavy-hauling steam vehicles of the era. Its twin-cylinder horizontal steam engine, fueled by a high-pressure coal-fired boiler, produced around 90 horsepower. That might not sound extreme by modern standards, but with steam's constant torque, the DG4 could haul 7 tons with surprising ease. It handled rough roads, construction sites, and industrial yards without hesitation, behaving almost like a steam-powered tractor. The manual double-gear transmission allowed for better gearing choices on climbs or when starting with a heavy load. Rear-wheel drive via chain kept maintenance simple, and strong leaf springs supported both the boiler and cargo weight. It was rugged, reliable, and built to work long hours. Its appearance was unmistakable. Boxy lines, a tall smokestack, and a semi-open cab, big enough for a driver and a fireman, the person responsible for feeding coal into the boiler. The deep rhythm of the engine, combined with thick vapor from the stack, created a scene that looked straight out of a railway yard. The DG4 became a favorite for hauling brick, steel, timber, and building materials throughout Britain. Many companies use them daily with minimal downtime. Some worked long enough to see the rise of diesel trucks, yet remained in service simply because they refused to quit. Collectors today consider the DG4 a prized survivor. A few still run at vintage steam rallies, proving how strong and dependable these machines were. One well-documented DG4 even stayed in active use for over 4 decades by the same company, operating with its original boiler thanks to careful maintenance. Enjoying this trip back through steam-powered history? Then don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next legendary machine. There's a lot more steam power coming your way, and trust me, the best is yet to come. If this sounds powerful, wait until you see what comes next. The next model steps things up with more strength, more refinement, and engineering that pushed steam power to its limits. Sentinel S6. Released in the mid-1930s, the Sentinel S6 represented the peak of British steam truck development. It was designed as the next evolution of the successful S-series, offering more power, more endurance, and a noticeably smoother driving experience. For companies that needed to move 6 tons of cargo reliably, the S6 was a top choice. Its twin-cylinder horizontal steam engine generated about 100 horsepower, a remarkable figure for a steam wagon of its time. With constant torque on tap, the S6 could pull heavy loads, climb grades, and maintain speeds up to 25 miles per hour, quite respectable for a vehicle powered by boiling water and coal. The manual double-gear transmission gave drivers flexibility on hills, while chain-driven rear wheels and reinforced leaf spring suspension delivered stability on rough industrial roads. It was tough, predictable, and capable of long workdays with minimal stops. The S6 looked more modern than earlier steam wagons. It featured a semi-open cab for the driver and fireman, polished metal details, wide fenders, and a distinctive front-mounted smokestack. Thick steam rising from the stack created a dramatic plume, especially on cold mornings, and the engine's deep pulse turned heads wherever it went. Industries across Britain used the S6 for hauling steel beams, coal loads, concrete blocks, and agricultural materials. It was especially common around steelworks and large construction projects. Its reputation has only grown with time. Many preserved units still appear at heritage events, and a few remain operational. One S6 famously completed an endurance run alongside internal combustion classics and finished the course with just a single stop for water and coal. Think 100 horsepower is impressive for a steam truck? The next machine on our list pushes even further into heavy-duty territory with more axles and a design that looks like a steam-powered Titan. Sentinel DG8. Regarded by many steam enthusiasts as the ultimate pre-diesel steam truck, the Sentinel DG8 was built in the 1930s for the toughest jobs imaginable. Like the DG4, the name refers to its double-gear transmission, but the 8 is what makes this model legendary. It featured 8x8 full-wheel drive, something astonishing for a steam-powered vehicle. Its twin-cylinder horizontal steam engine, powered by a large coal-fired boiler, produced around 120 horsepower. With its massive torque, the DG8 could haul more than 10 tons, even on uneven, muddy, or snowy terrain. Its top speed was about 22 miles per hour, but speed wasn't the goal. Pure pulling strength was. Every axle was mechanically driven, giving the truck traction rivaling early military vehicles. Reinforced leaf springs carried the enormous weight, and the chassis spread the load evenly across all 8 wheels. Visually, the DG8 was a beast. 4 axles, towering smokestack, dense vapor clouds, and a heavy steel frame made it look like a land-going locomotive. The twin operator cab provided room for tools, coal, and the crew who kept the boiler fed and the engine running smoothly. It was used in mines, logging operations, construction sites, and railway building projects, places where regular trucks simply couldn't operate. Its 8x8 setup allowed it to crawl through mud and deep ruts long before off-road trucks were common. Its rarity gives it legendary status today. Only a handful were ever produced, and preserved units draw crowds at steam festivals. One DG8 even spent winters working on a Swiss mountainside, hauling firewood between cabins while snow fell around it. Steam power in negative temperatures, and it kept going. If that seems extreme, get ready for the machine that tops our list. It didn't just travel through forests, it carved its own path directly through them. Super Sentinel. The Super Sentinel, released in the early 1930s, was one of the last and strongest steam trucks ever built. Sentinel created it to compete directly with the rising diesel trucks of the era, while still offering the durability and consistent torque that steam engines were famous for. Its twin-cylinder high-pressure steam engine produced around 130 horsepower, giving it the muscle needed to haul long trailers, farm wagons, or construction loads up steep grades. With abundant low-end torque, the Super Sentinel pulled like a locomotive. Even if top speed remained around 18 to 20 miles per hour, the manual gearbox used heavy-duty gears designed to withstand high loads. Massive rear wheels delivered traction, and thick leaf springs handled the weight of the boiler and cargo. It was a tough machine built to survive harsh work environments. Visually, it had presence, wide stance, large wheels, tall smokestack, and a semi-open cab to the driver and fireman. When running, it filled the road with sound, a deep thumping engine note, and a constant plume of rising steam. These trucks were common in agriculture and heavy industrial transport. They often pulled beer wagons, grain trailers, stone haulers, and timber loads. Many companies trusted them because they simply didn't fail. One unit became well known for making deliveries to a historic brewery in rural England. Even as diesel engines gained popularity, the brewery kept the Super Sentinel because it was reliable, steady, and in their words, never late. Hard to imagine a steam tractor like this on the highway today, right? But the #1 machine on our list didn't even need roads. It made its own through snow and forest. Lombard Steam Log Hauler. Finally, the most imposing machine on our list, the Lombard Steam Log Hauler. Built starting in 1901 in Maine, it holds a groundbreaking achievement. The first tracked vehicle ever made, predating tanks, bulldozers, and modern forestry machines. Designed by Alvin Orlando Lombard to conquer the brutal winters of the northeastern United States and Canada, it used a twin-cylinder steam engine producing between 100 and 140 horsepower. That power allowed it to pull over 50 tons of timber on sleds chained behind it. Instead of wheels, the front of the machine featured two large wooden skis steered by the driver. At the rear, two massive track assemblies powered the vehicle forward across deep snow, ice, and mud. The manual gearbox offered forward and reverse gearing, and the two-man crew had to manage both steering and firing the boiler. The log hauler looked like a hybrid between a locomotive and a monstrous snow machine. Dense steam poured from the stack. The tracks clattered across frozen ground, and the engine thumped like a heartbeat, echoing through the forest. Its impact on the logging industry was enormous. Before the Lombard, crews relied on horses and rivers. With it, loggers could move timber directly from the cut site to loading points, saving days of work. Historians now consider the Lombard log hauler one of the most important machines in heavy transport history. A few survive in museums across the US and Canada, and unbelievably, some can still run. One restored unit was operated well into the 1970s by a collector who used it to demonstrate early logging methods. When he fired up the boiler and the machine exhaled that first burst of steam, the entire forest seemed to fall silent. A mechanical legend still unmatched. So could you picture these steam-powered giants conquering forests, muddy trails, icy roads, and early industrial cities? Today, you saw machines that pushed the limits long before diesel engines took over. They weren't just trucks. They were pioneers that shaped the future of heavy hauling. These machines are living reminders of an era built on steam, steel, and sheer determination. They carved paths where roads didn't exist and left a legacy still felt in modern engineering. Now tell me, which of these steam giants would you want to see running today? Do you think any of them could still be useful with modern technology? And which one surprised you the most? If you enjoyed this deep dive into the most powerful steam trucks ever built, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. It helps the channel grow and tells YouTube that this kind of content deserves to reach more people who love history, machines, and extreme engineering. Stay tuned. Every week we bring you more incredible machines that push the limits of what was possible. See you in the next video.